Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Yarn Dispensary Podcast. This time we are joined by Vic, which is very exciting. However, we had a minor Zoom glitch and I managed to record the speaker view as opposed to the gallery view, so apologies for that, but it does mean for more close-ups of the projects, and after all, isn't that why you're here? Sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy.
Oh, nice view of her bottom, so we're fine.
Lockdown leggings.
I might have to edit that comment about your bottom out.
No.
You want me to leave the comments about your bottom in?
Or we have to credit Marie-Jeanne with designing the leggings.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Yarn Dispensary Podcast. I'm Gemma.
I'm Linda.
I'm Roz.
I'm Rick.
And we are most of Team Yarn Dispensary. Firstly, thank you so much for your fantastic reception to our first podcast. It was a bit of a mishmash, really, wasn't it? And we had a lot of fun putting it together. But we've got 60 of you have subscribed. It's had over 400 views on YouTube, and it's kind of blown us away, really. So thank you very much. So if you're new here, we are the team behind the Yarn Dispensary yarn shop in Faversham in Kent, which is currently closed because of lockdown. And we just thought we'd have a little bit of fun and get together once a month and record a podcast to share with you what we are up to while we are at home at the moment, but obviously in the future back in the shop as well. So we specialise in natural fibres, and we do knitting and crochet, and we teach, and basically we do all the things, don't we?
We do.
We do all the things. Right, so let's get started with what we're wearing. Who wants to go first?
You want me to do first?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so let's just see if we can see it. So I'm wearing my jumper that I've just recently finished. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Called Kenna, and it's from West Yorkshire Spinners, and it's in their DK Croft book. Really lovely to knit. Nice little bit of colour work for anybody that doesn't want to do a huge amount, but just likes to dabble. So it's a nice one to knit. Love the fact that it's got 3/4 length sleeves, because that means when I'm doing the washing up, I don't get wet sleeves, you know. So, and actually I'm quite a hot person anyway, so it's quite nice to have 3/4 length sleeves. And when I wore it out the other week when I was out on the beach, I just put a long sleeve top under it, and it was so cozy. It's a really nice knit and a really nice cozy jumper. Nice yarn to work with. So if anybody wants to give that a go, it's in the Croft DK book. So lovely, love it.
And it's machine washable.
It is machine washable. Yeah, I haven't actually attempted that yet, because this is the only second time I've put it on. So, but I'm sure that it's going to wash up lovely, because this yarn normally does. So it'll be great.
It looks absolutely fabulous on you.
Thank you. I'm loving it.
Roz has got another finished object.
This one is it's called Saltings by Sarah Solomon, and it's in this, which is, I think, yes, winter 2019 version issue of Pom Pom Mag. What I did, and it's finished, and I think I've been wearing it ever since, in the charcoal coloured Isager Mohair silk, and the denim, the blue, but it is a bit bluer, the denim Vivacious 4-ply. And compared to Linda's, I am a cold person to be cozy, and this is so soft and so cozy, and I did it quite large actually, but I think I've had it on ever since I finished it. So as you can see, the color slightly better like that, but yes, it's quite an overall cable pattern. It's quite easy.
It's interesting because I'm used to seeing cables sort of going up the way, but they almost, with the kind of ridges in between. It's
horizontal, isn't it?
It creates a horizontal effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's slightly offset too. They're not, the little changes are not beside each other, which is a bit strange. But you do get used to it quite quickly, and it's so soft, and it's not got this is a slightly funneled necked one, so room for a bit of a scarf if you want it, but also not too strangly, as I always say, because I don't like it tight around my neck. But it is it's a joy. And yes, it's a bit long, but you turn it back to do the washing up if you have to do washing up.
Can I tell you something funny? My glasses are really steamed up, and I've just realised now I've taken them off, I can actually see you better. They're really dirty. I'm cleaning them now on my jumper because I can actually not really see you very well. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I can see you now.
You look lovely. You look lovely there, Linda.
Oh dear.
It looks absolutely fabulous on you, Roz. Vic, why don't you show off your finished objects? I mean, we did show a headless picture of you, so everyone who watched the last podcast be like, but Vic's face is here. Vic has agreed. There was no bullying going on to get Vic on this, was there?
No. You didn't bully at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, I think it was in about the end of January I cast this on and finished it in about September. It was a bit of a labour of love, but actual jumper in, I think it's called Copper Tones, the Vivacious DK. It's just a top-down raglan, all stocking stitch in the round, all of my favourite things. Incredibly easy jumper that should have taken maybe a month, but it took me about 8. So yeah.
But to be fair, you do lots of other things in between.
Yes.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah.
You finished a beautiful shrug, didn't you, during the same time, using Isager and I can't think what the other one was. Was it socks?
No, it was the Isager lace weight stuff, the name of which is escaping me. It's the one I can't pronounce. Spinny.
Oh, spinny. Right, yeah.
Yeah. It was that pink lace stuff and then the fluffy stuff to make the pink fluffy monstrosity that everybody else seems to really like, but I'm not a fan of.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put a picture up here of it, of the pattern and of Vic's creation, which I do not think is a monstrosity, but it is like, we don't tend to go for pink and fluffy in the shop, do we?
No, exactly.
But it was this gorgeous pinky corally peachy thing with lace and like little frills on the sleeves, and it was like it was like the anti-us, to be honest. I mean, you get a fair idea of our palette from this, don't you? You know, we're all kind of blues and tones, and Linda wears fabulous, looks fabulous in reds and colours like that she was wearing her sweater last time, and obviously Vic in your fantastic jumper there. Which is great. So we'll put another picture of Vic, headless Vic, up on the screen for you to see it in full light as well. But yeah, well, it's a bit of a red letter day because I finished something as well. So people who know me from the shop or from my other roles will know that I'm a fantastic starter, not so much a finisher. But yeah, I am wearing my weekender.
I love that.
I really like it. So this was, I talked about it last time. I was feeling like meh, and I'd said to Linda, it's no good, I really want a sweater in this yarn. So it had just come in, and I'll try and hold it up to the screen a bit. There we are. Nice. And it's this beautiful flecky tone. The kind of oatmeal-y colour isn't coming through here at the moment, but it's called Marister, and it's the Croft Shetland Aran weight. So Linda's is the Croft Shetland DK. This one is Croft Shetland Aran, or worsted if you're in the US. And they are both pure Shetland wool. And you might think Shetland and you might immediately sort of think, oh, but actually it's super soft. It's really, really nice. I was slightly worried about it, especially the high neckline like this, because I'm a bit of a princess and don't like scratchy, itchy things, but it's totally fine. And yeah, so it's with West Yorkshire Spinners, which is a British wool company, has collaborated with Jameson and Smith of Shetland to create this gorgeous yarn. And this pattern is the Weekender by Andrea Mowry. I've actually found it on her own website, so we don't even have to send you to Ravelry. It's a huge boxy. This is my circus tent of knitting from before. We could have a party if you wanted. I mean, you wouldn't. That's a bit weird. I don't know why I said that. I'll edit that out. That's strange. But or maybe I won't, and people will just see how strange I am.
We're all wearing nice big ones, aren't we?
Yeah, nice big cozy sweater. It's actually worked in the round, but it's worked inside out. So you knit because can you imagine just purling every single round? No. So she does it inside out, and I chose to do shorter sleeves. I partly played yarn chicken with it. I got one ribbed cuff done because it's meant to have rib on the cuff like it does here and at the bottom, and I got one done, and then I ran out with like 2 rows of rib to go on the other sleeve. And I thought, do I really want to buy a whole other skein? Because it's not particularly dear. It's £9.50 a skein. So it's quite, you know, affordable in so far as natural fibres go. But do I really want a whole skein for 2 rows of rib? And then I realised something. I don't like long sleeves and I don't like rib at the cuffs. So why am I even worrying about it? So I ripped out the one sleeve I'd done and then did the other sleeve to the same length. And I'm like Linda, I'm constantly doing this with my sweaters. And if you hand knit a sweater, personally, I don't want to stretch, and I would stretch this and I'd wash up. And so, yeah, I thought nice sort of not quite bracelet length. And all I've done is I've just cast it off and the stocking stitch just rolls back on itself. And I really like that. And I horrified everyone, didn't I? I was really mean. In the group chat on WhatsApp, we've got a team chat, and I just put on there, I put my Croft sweater in the washing machine. And that's all I said. I just left it. Because and everyone was like, oh my God, what happened? Oh no. It came up so soft. It is so soft. It's like softer than it was when I was knitting with it, and it hasn't felted at all. So there you go. I have tried and tested. When it says machine washable to 30 on the ball bands, it means machine washable to 30.
This is one for the shop. So this is a cowl. Can you see it? And it's from this book. And this is small projects in this new yarn that we've got. I don't think it's new to Rowan, but it's new to the shop. And it's called Cozy Merino. And it's got quite a lot of something nice in it. I can't remember what. Let's just see.
Pretty sure it's got cashmere in it, hasn't it?
Yes, there was something quite exciting in it, wasn't there? So I found it. It says it is 73% wool, 15 cashmere, 7 yak, and 5 nylon. And it's a boucle yarn, really. We've been asked for boucle before, which in our natural fibre state we don't usually have much of, do we? But this.
So what is boucle, Ross? What is boucle?
Well, it's usually on a firm line, which is probably probably the nylon element of it. There's usually a thread, and then it goes up and down in a sort of loopy fashion. So and sometimes boucle yarns are quite hard to knit with because you can get snagged in the loop, but this is not overly loopy, and so it wasn't tricky to knit. It's a thing like this, a cowl, so quite cozy, as you can see.
Looks really warm.
Oh, it is. It's very, very soft. Only thing that was a bit strange was that the photograph they took in the book somewhere is actually of the reverse. So I've stitched it, it's knitted flat. I've stitched it together so that you could have it whichever way round you prefer, because it doesn't really matter whether it's the back or the front. I'll show you okay. The one in the pattern that they say is the front looks like this. Can you see it slightly? The one that is actually the reverse, which they've got in the photograph.
Oh,
I see.
Unfortunately, none of you do.
It's more columns than the bars. But then it doesn't really matter. You could wear it whichever way you prefer. So, but then you could decide. I tried to make the seam as end to end as possible so that you could choose. But yeah. It doesn't really matter, and it's very cozy. And also I made it with not as many stitches. You can see how big it is. They asked you to cast on 240 stitches, but actually in the end I cast on 180, and it was plenty.
I can't imagine how long that would have been for 240 stitches. That's an extra 60 stitches per row.
Yeah, and you can see how it's plenty big enough, and would have ended up not being as cozy around one's neck. It would have been, like this.
Been all down here, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
there'd have been more gaps, whereas actually this is what one wants when one's chilly, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It looks lovely on you.
Sorry, those are reading glasses. I can't see.
It looks really,
so
really
there's
cozy.
me nice and cozy.
So the cozy, so it's called Cozy Merino. So the wool is merino yarn, and it's the Selects range from Rowan, which is a limited edition. So they've stopped doing it, and we have some, but those little books actually are free with a Yarny purchase, or they're £2 on their own. And they've got a couple of hats, a couple of cowls, a scarf, something like that in there. They're really quite nice. There is some errata to watch out for. I knit a hat. I'm going to put the picture up. Do you remember the hat I did? Because when the yarn came in, that's beautiful. When the yarn came in, we all kind of had to go with it. That's the hat I did. Right, okay. So that's the picture of the hat. Here's the picture of me wearing my hat. It looks like a fishnet vest. It's awful. And I've contacted Rowan, who have in turn contacted Quail Design Studio, who is the design studio that have actually produced this little book for Rowan. And I don't know if no one's got in contact with them before, because basically it's a chunky yarn, but it told me to knit it on size 9mm needles, but it didn't say anything about holding it double, which is for a size 9mm needle, you'd want a super chunky, wouldn't you, like the maxi? And it looked awful, but I finished it, and here's the proof that I finished it. It looks awful. It's been frogged. Linda, you tried crocheting with it. How did you find it to crochet with?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with crocheting with it. It was quite tricky to crochet with, and I didn't get, because of the fact that it is a bit chenille, it sort of didn't give me any stitch definition. Whereas when you crochet, you really want your stitch definition. So I think it is a knitting yarn rather than and it knits up beautifully, because obviously Rosa's got that lovely cowl on. But as a crochet yarn, I might give it another go, try a different, but I tried 2 or 3 different stitches and it didn't really do what I wanted it to. But some people may like that.
It was hard to read, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was very difficult. It was very difficult to know where to put your hook once you'd done the first row, because of the fact that it was sort of bobbly. I have crocheted with bobbly yarns before, but you don't get so much stitch definition on it. So I think it's a knitting yarn, basically.
I was going to say, typically if you come into our shop, our attitude is you can do whatever you want with the yarn, but if we come across something that really doesn't work for either knitting or crochet like this, we will always tell you. I don't, sorry, what were you going to say, Ros?
I think it might work quite well for somebody who is quite inexperienced as a knitter, because a relatively plain stitch with perhaps something of interest, like some columns or ribs or something, but as I said, it doesn't snake. Some loopy yarns would be difficult for a beginner, but this is knitted on big needles. It's quite thick yarn, and you'd have something cozy relatively quickly. So it might be quite a good one for a beginner.
It's nice.
There's really very little stitch definition. So
it's really soft as well, and that's where this little booklet comes in handy, because it's not the cheapest yarn. It's £13 a ball. And that's because of the cashmere and yak and merino, the high quality fibres in it. Does go surprisingly far each ball, but this little booklet, it's just accessories, and I think the most it uses is 6, and that's for a really big long scarf. But you can get a hat out of 1 or 2. If you knit it on if you could use the Dovestone simple slouchy beanie that we showed last time, and you could get a hat out of 1 ball. So it's really is what you make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have another finished object.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't have it to hand because it's currently in Scotland, but I finished my rainbow socks that I was knitting for my dad for Christmas.
Yeah, they were lovely.
They were only a month late, which is a huge improvement on the socks I started in 2017, which you got in January 2020. So but I did the West Yorkshire Spinners socks, and I'll put a picture up now of them in Rum Paradise. I just did my simple vanilla recipe that I use. I'm going to make that available on PayHip for like £1. It's nothing magical. And then Pure Luck look how matchy they are. It's ridiculous. So with self-striping, you can sort of wind it off deliberately to make sure your stripes match. I can't be bothered with that. I just can't, you know, a sock's a sock at the end of the day. I might have to go.
Oh.
Right, sorry, context. I might disappear off screen for a bit during this because I live in a postcode where they've discovered a fast spreading variant of the coronavirus, and the police and fire brigade and army are currently going door to door to do tests. They started on Tuesday, it's now Thursday, and I've just seen a load of police officers walk past and start with bags of things. So if I disappear, that's what's happening, and Linda and Roz and Vic will hold the fort, obviously. Yeah. So, I finished those as well.
Did you?
I finished those, yes, the same as Roz has got. So I finished 2 pairs of socks. I'm just going to show you why my sock was matchy. And it's because, look at this.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's a teeny tiny sock. I mean, my sock doesn't have any foot. It's like a sock for a baby elephant, but my students' socks have feet. Basically, what I did was I pulled off a bit of the yarn from the ball. I'd done one sock and hadn't done the second. And so I just pulled off the yarn from that ball to knit a baby sock for our sock structure course, which I did with 3 students a couple of weeks ago. And they all knit little teeny tiny socks. Look, and we've even got little teeny tiny heel flaps and heel turns and gussets. And that with a Kitchener stitch as well. They did Kitchener stitch. And that was enough for when I started my next sock for it to magically be matchy. Roz, show us your sparkle.
Okay, this, as a lot of people will know, I usually knit socks for my dad every Christmas, but I'm afraid other things caught up with me. So his birthday is coming up. So now this is the signature 4-ply from the West Yorkshire Spinners. I can't remember what this one's called. Oh, Silent Night. And it's sparkly. Now,
really
it may not be everybody's dad who will wear sparkly socks, but I'm pretty sure mine will.
Yeah.
So there he goes. Those will go in the post for next week.
They're really beautiful. And you did a ribbed sock, didn't you?
Yes. I have, I can't remember where it is. It's a fairly standard pattern from toe up, because if you're doing an unfamiliar one and you don't know how much yarn you've got, you can weigh it and just knit from the toe up and stop when you run out of yarn. But actually they were plenty big enough. I got 2 socks and I've got,
they're really generous.
Is left, but it's
it's
not. I could do a pair of baby socks as well, probably, for a niece or a nephew or something out of that. So that's what's left. And yeah, no, it's lovely stuff to knit with, and plenty on the ball. But that pattern, I just did a 2x2 rib, just so that, you know, because it's lovely yarn. There's no need to do a pattern if you don't feel like it. It's quicker, obviously.
They came with a pattern, didn't they, from Winwick Mum, these socks, and it was a lacy pattern. I chose not to do a lacy pattern on mine either, because I felt it just got lost in the yarn. And my socks were for me rather than my dad, my Silent Night ones. And I did mine perfectly plain. I'll flash a picture up of that now. But you get a lot out of a ball of West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. I've got some left over from my dad's ones. But you're saying about your dad wearing sparkly yarn, Roz. My dad, he has a folding bicycle, and he cycles around where he lives in Scotland, and he tucks his trousers into his socks. So I just thought it's going to look so joyous. My dad he wears a helmet. He's very good. He wears a helmet, and he's got a little vest, and you know, and he would just make everyone smile. And in these times, that's what you need, isn't it? And I'm sure that bit of sparkle will make your dad smile.
Oh, totally. And my dad, I think obviously due to COVID it won't be happening, but he goes to what he calls geriatric Pilates class, and he and his friends have a bit of a sock competition, and so I keep him provided with very jazzy socks. Some of the yarns have come from the Yarn Dispensary, some of them have come from the Countess of Blaze in Manchester, and some of them are the German ones, Wollmeister stuff. So brightly coloured socks are his thing. So
he always wins, right? He's got to win.
Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Vic, didn't you do a crocheted sock recently? Have you got your crocheted socks there?
I didn't do one, I did 2.
You actually have brilliant.
In some of the No, it's not my short spinners. It's
Wasn't it socks you did it in?
yeah.
Socks, yeah.
So they're very
Wow.
very bright yellow and dark blue and light blue, and I'm very chuffed with them because I've never made crochet socks before.
They're amazing. And I'll tell you a funny story. You know, as a very experienced crocheter here, I also was making those socks and made a really rookie error and didn't bother to try them on after I'd started my rib. So did my rib, turned the heel, got that far, thought, oh, I'll try them on to see the foot length. Couldn't get them over my feet. So I had to rip them back. So I couldn't believe it. I have never, ever not been able to get my foot through my ribs. So I just didn't give it a thought. So they are now half taken to pieces in a bag. And I promise, I will do them again, Vic. Because we were doing them together, weren't we? And yeah. I just had to dramatically stop. So I need to do them again and try them on next time, which is probably
I think they are in the naughty corner, suffice to say. So Vic, I want to hear more about the process of making it. So how was it to do? Because you'd never crocheted a sock before, had you?
Really easy. It was really easy. Yeah, I've never made a crocheted sock before. I've crocheted for a while, so I can read a pattern, which I think was a good place to start from. But because it was a mystery craft along, you get one pattern. It comes in 5 parts, and it was one chunk every week. So it starts with the cuff, and you just do 2 of them, and then you do the ankle, and then you do the heel, and then you do the foot and what have you. But it was just because it just walked you through every bit. I could spend a week going, what does that mean, and figure it out, and just sort of, I've actually got 2 socks, which never happens. I never end up with 2 socks. It's
so
only
brilliant,
ever one.
isn't it? The pattern was called Turning Tides, I think, wasn't it? Or was it? No, was it Turning Tides? No, it wasn't. That's the other one. It was called Tipping the Scales. Tipping the Scales, and it's a crochet project one, isn't it? Yeah. From Joanne.
I almost joined in, but I chose not to. Right, Magnus, what have you finished? Nothing, absolutely nothing of use to contribute. So people who might have been to the shop before, this is our shop puppy. He lives with me and he finds this whole thing incredibly boring. But I've been a bit naughty. I've deliberately been going, oh, I've finished something. And Roz, what have you finished? And Vic, you finished. And we have a rather spectacular finished object to show a picture of, don't we, Linda?
Do we? Oh yes, what you mean, my Christmas jumper. Oh, of course, last time I couldn't tell anybody, could I? Because it was a secret. Yeah, no, I have. And you've got the picture I'm taking, because I obviously haven't got the jumper. Yeah, that was
Vic and Roz at the moment. Sorry, guys.
That was a labour of love, that jumper. Six weeks of aching fingers and aching wrists.
We knew
and
you
very
could do
sore shoulders. So yeah, so pleased with it.
One thing you need to know, everyone, is that when Linda sets her mind to something, that's it. She's determined it's going
stubborn as a mule.
Tell us about the pattern.
Any of these projects, isn't it?
Yeah, the pattern is obviously a cable jumper. It's another one from the DK Croft book, and it's actually on the front cover with this one. The name of it, for some silly reason, has gone out of my head, but I'm sure Gemma can flag it up later. It's a really beautiful jumper to knit. I haven't got the book in front of me now, and I'm as you probably all know, not very good at remembering names. But it's on the front of the Croft book with this one. It's a nice pattern. It's got a good repeat to it, but I think there's something like 25 cables across the front. So you've got to concentrate on it until you get your mind around it. And it was great to knit. But as I say, don't give yourself 6 weeks. I just decided to do it 6 weeks before Christmas as a Christmas present, and was determined it was going to be a Christmas present. I think,
isn't it right that a certain amount of bloody mindedness is necessary for any of this
absolutely project? There it is. That's the one. That is the one.
Fabulous.
Yeah, no, so it's an enormous amount of cables but very good to do. And I hadn't actually done a cabled jumper probably for 20 years. So that just shows that if you put your mind to it, you can do that many cables, even if you're not very experienced. And it's the book. I think the book's amazing for putting.
Yours looks just as good as
the
that.
explanation, you know, and the instructions in those books are amazing. So I think, you know, anybody could do it really. It is a lovely jumper.
Yeah, and there's the one you did as well.
And there's the one I've got, obviously not in pink because everybody knows I'm not a pink person, but it's no, it's lovely.
So basically, you've turned you and your son into cover models.
We have, yeah. We should have gone out into the cold. Had it not been COVID lockdown, we could have gone out and held hands, but he doesn't live anywhere near me, so he's not going to be driving over here to come and hold my hand and take a picture. But never mind. Maybe one day. That'll be good. I've got another West Yorkshire Spinners project going at the moment. This is my shop sample, and I picked it up again last night because I needed some cheery cheer. And it's a baby blanket, and it's worked in lots and lots of different rows and stitches and colours. It's absolutely fabulous to work with. And if you need a bit of cheer when it's a bit of a dull old day, it's a fabulous pattern. This is the pattern. It's let me see if I can get it so you can see it. Can you see it, Gemma?
Yes, and I'll flash it up as well in case.
Yeah. So it's called Crochet Carousel Baby Blanket. It's 75 rows of changing colour. So I must admit, you do need to not be too put off with sewing in ends or crocheting them in. It's made with Bo Peep, so which is a baby yarn that we have in the shop all the time, also machine washable. Seven colours. On here, which is and it's lovely.
So it's under £30 to make.
Yeah.
Because the pattern is it's £2, I think, and the yarn comes to 28. However, it's rather fortuitous that you're showing us this because we have a baby and toddler event starting on the 14th of February where we have a discount. We've got 10% off all baby yarns and baby patterns and things. And if you're a newsletter subscriber, then you get a little something extra as well. So it's worth subscribing to the newsletter. Shameless plug.
Yeah, I know. I'll be doing some more baby knitting. I think I need to get some bits and bobs made for my new grandson to be, who's on his way. It's mainly trebles and double crochets, so it's not. It's just, you know, following the pattern. So some of it is very simple, double or treble crochet right the way across the blanket, and then other bits are just like little clusters, or there are some bobbles on it, which if you've never done bobbles before, but there's a very good explanation of how to do it, and if anybody wants to make it, obviously I'm always around, so you can always contact the shop by email at the moment, and then obviously when we're open you can give us a call or pop in. I'm always willing to help if anybody wants to have a go at it. But it is a fairly simple process, and if you are a basic crocheter, you wouldn't have any problem with it at all. It's a lovely one to do, and as I say, cheers you up with all those lovely bright colours. That's really nice.
And machine washable again.
And machine washable again, which obviously you need if you're doing it for a baby, because obviously it's would be I'm sure have a bit of milk on it occasionally or whatever. Or something else.
What were you doing just then? What have you been unwinding or winding?
Oh, this was something I think I showed you the last time. Loki sweater.
Yeah.
After pulling it out of the cupboard, the beasties.
They munched
just
it.
Nearly got to where the beasties were on the cuff. It was about it's a couple of inches from the edge. But of course, it does illustrate why it's a good idea to do top-down sweaters. And I think this traditionally was for fishermen's sweaters where they wore out at the cuff. The women, well, I think men used to knit as well, but they often used to re-knit the cuffs when they were worn out. So I thought I found a bit more of the yarn, which I may not actually need, but because there's some here. But I'm just winding off this cuff I found the needles and I'm going to reknit the cuff when I get past the holes.
So much better than darning, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought, but to be honest, it would be better, even if I didn't have more yarn, I would lose a couple of rows. I could probably just knit with what I've taken off, and if need be, make the other cuff fractionally shorter, but at least it's fixable, because it's a lovely sweater and it would be a shame not to be able to wear it. And I checked it, the beasties haven't got anywhere else, and thank goodness not in the Fair Isle section.
Oh gosh, because that would have been tricky. Much
more difficult. It's just one cuff. So
Vic, what have you been working on?
Well, I have almost finished this. I don't remember what it's called. I have the actual book. It's from the Shetland Tweed Croft book. I think that's backwards, but
yeah.
It's a Ewing setter with many cables. Not as many as 20, but still a few. And it's in the black Falkland Down, which has been entertaining.
And you've almost finished it?
Almost finished. I've got one sleeve sewn on. I need to sew on the other one. I'm just doing the neck, and then I need to sew up the side.
You are a total dark horse, because
you're a legend.
Just before Christmas, Vic was like, I think I might do a cable jumper in the black Falkland Down. I thought, oh, okay, we'll see that Christmas next year. Wow.
And it's light as well. When the light's not good in the winter, you're knitting a black cable jumper. I'm absolutely in awe of you.
I think I just zoned out in that sort of intermediary between Christmas Day and New Year's. I just was in a knitting haze of just power knitting. But and I did the sleeve 2 at a time, which is the only way I'm doing sleeves now if I have to do them flat, because I'm not doing 2 cable sleeves ever. I've decided I'm not going to. But I can't actually show you because it's in black.
No, it showed up quite well. So if we come really nice and slow and hold it up and then angle it towards your right. Yeah, no, back a bit, back a bit. And then angle it a bit more. Forward a bit. No, come forward. Keep the angle the same, but move yourself forward. Right? And then angle it more to there
you are. Brilliant.
I might leave this bit in.
It's sort of like a 4-strand plait.
And
the one on the front, I think, is about 8 strands, maybe. I might be wrong. Yeah. And I did change the pattern slightly, because on the front it's got the 2. On the front it's got the 1 cable up the middle and then 2 either side. And I liked the cable up the middle, so I put it up the back as well, just to make my life easier.
So was the back not cabled then?
I'm nearly going to have a finished object.
So we'll look forward to that next time. Okay. So Linda's was all over cable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. The back and the front were exactly the same, and the sleeves. They had a very similar pattern. I'll tell you what I love about that pattern that I did is all the increase is just done in stocking stitch. So on the sleeves, you've got your cables very visible down the sleeve, but the underside of it is stocking stitch. So when you're doing your increases and your decreases, you're not actually having to work out how to decrease or increase a cable, which is, for me, perfect, because... That's
really good. That's really good to know, because that's something that puts me off sometimes with patterns. It's like, am I having to fiddle about with it?
Yeah.
So do you have to, when you added the cable in the back, cables obviously kind of chinch everything in and they use a bit more yarn. Did you cast on any extra stitches for your back, or is it an oversized anyway?
I only thought of that about halfway up the back, and at that point I was like, no, I'm not pulling it back. But because the yarn is so squishy and lovely, and I think it's ever so slight. I think it's about a stitch wider than the croft is. I've tried it on and pinned it round, and it's fine because it was a little bit bigger than it probably ought to have been anyway. So it ended up fine. I might have to actually block it, which I know.
Do you know, all I did with mine was I just steam blocked it, because I was going to actually wash it and then, block it out before I sewed it up. But Roz actually said to me, just lay it on the ironing board, steam it with your steam iron, pat it out.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It just it opened the cable slightly, but it didn't open it enough to make it look stretchy. And so I'm thinking that that's the way to go with your cables. Just instead of washing it and blocking it, just do a bit of a steam.
Cables are meant to be, they do chinch everything in, and it's part of the look of cables, particularly now with modern sweaters, because I'm seeing a lot of sweaters in the shops, particularly for men, that are heavily cabled. And you know, like there's this kind of fashion going on at the moment, everything's very fitted for men. If you want it to be sort of looser, then typically you'd go for a sweater that's more oversized anyway, with lots of ease. And it's one of the nice things about cables is they look lovely and squishy. So if you were to hard block them, then you would lose some of that squish.
So when I made that jumper for him, I was slightly worried because obviously he had no idea I was making it. So apart from a chest measurement, which I did say to him, oh, by the way, what's your chest measurement? I'm going out to buy you something. I had no other measurements. So the patterns come up really well to size because it fitted him perfectly. I was really pleased with the fit. Bless him.
And I love that yarn. So the yarn that Vic's chosen. So just a note, this book that Linda was working from was the double knitting weight yarn for the Croft. The Croft is has up till last year only been available in Aran weight. So the one that Vic's doing is from one of the original Croft Aran weight books. And you've used Debbie Bliss Falkland Merino, which is discontinued in sort of physical yarn shops. It's been swallowed up by Love Crafts. Like, I won't get into the whole sort of what happened with designer yarns, etc., because that's boring and long. But we had a really lovely stock of Falkland Merino Aran, and actually we're left with the colours that we're mostly left with. We've got the kind of claret colour, haven't we? We've got some of the duck egg blue, which is gorgeous. And we've got a lot of the black, and I think the black is totally an unsung hero because it just looks so sharp. And it's so soft. It's got more meters than anything else. It's 180 meters per 100 gram hank, and it's 100% Falkland Merino. And I believe I'm right in saying it's machine washable.
Yeah, and it's beautifully soft. It is so soft. I've made hats for my little granddaughters with it, and they're a bit fussy about, wearing anything that might make them slightly itch, and they love it. They love their hats.
How did you find it though, doing the cables in the black, Vic? Be honest, was it all right?
Honestly, it was fine. Well, to be fair, most of the time I'm sat here and I've got a massive window next to me, so I can sort of just like curl up into a little ball and do my cable knitting. But it wasn't too bad. Also, this yarn behaves. I've done some things with cables where the yarn did not behave, and there was a lot of turning of the air blue. But this one actually worked. And
what do you mean by behaves for the uninitiated? How does a yarn need to behave for cables?
Well, for me, for cables, if it immediately splits into a million pieces and I can't get the cable needle into the stitches, that annoys me quite quickly. But it actually stays together, and it's very squishy, so you can pull it and see what you're doing. Because I think one of them, on one row you have to cable forwards, and the next row you have to cable back, so it gets quite tight quite quickly. So if you can actually still maneuver it around, that's quite handy. I have a vendetta against a particular yarn that nearly put me off cable, and I'm staring at it across the room. But that one just, as soon as you try to put a cable needle through it, it just immediately split, and then you try to take it off and it would fly away. I have a vendetta, but hey ho.
No, I never ever want to upset you like that yarn's upset you, Vic.
I don't think it's physically possible.
I don't know what to call this episode. It could be the one with all the West Yorkshire spinners, it could be the one where everything's machine washable, or it could be Vic's vendetta.
Yeah.
All the big squishy jumpers.
Oh, big squishy jumpers is a good one, isn't it?
Filthy weather, squishy jumpers.
Yeah. I've got something else on the hook. It's not shop yarn, but I did actually buy it at the shop. So I'm going to explain that one to you.
Just to clarify for everyone watching, I'm not like some sort of she-devil. I will not explode people with laser beams from my eyes if people knit with things that Right. When we got married, we got married in the church, and my husband genuinely thought he'd spontaneously combust when we went to meet the vicar. He thought she's going to know that I don't believe, and I'll just it was so fun. But no, you can knit with things other than from the shop.
So I'm making this 2-row tee, it's called. I'm basically making it because I'm missing going on holiday, and it looked like a bit of a holiday on there, and she's eating an ice cream, which made me a bit jealous. And I need some sunshine, so I thought I'd give this a go. And I went through my stash because obviously I haven't been in the shop very much, and I found this absolutely scrumptious yarn. I don't think you may. So this is the dark colour. It's got lots of beautiful little flecks in it.
There, perfect.
Which is nice. It looks pinker on the screen than it is to those who think I've gone mad and I'm crocheting with pink. But and then at the bottom, it's this beautiful grey, and the grey has got little flecks of the same colour in it. So, and you crochet it sidewards. So basically you cast on your length, or you do a foundation crochet to do your length, and then you work across the body for the back and the front, and it's got a little bit of lace on the top of it. It's so pretty. And this yarn is from Travel Knitter, from Larissa, and she actually did a trunk show at the Yarn Dispensary a long time ago, and I bought it while she was there doing the trunk show, and it's stunning. The top of it, this bit here, is baby camel and silk, and then the bottom is merino and silk. So it's going to be really beautiful to wear. So I'm loving this one, and I might have that finished next time. The only thing is I'm playing yarn chicken, so I'm slightly worried I'm not going to have enough. If I haven't, I'll have to contact her and see if I can get some more.
Yeah.
But it will. If I have to buy more, it is going to be a very expensive project, I will say. But
so worth it, and cheaper than a holiday.
Cheaper than a holiday, yeah, absolutely cheaper than a holiday.
Absolutely. And Larissa's yarns are such gorgeous quality.
They are beautiful.
Really lovely. We hope we'll be able to welcome her back again soon.
Yeah, that would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we'd hope to get her in for 2020, because she had a trunk show in 2019 with us. But then obviously we all know what happened to 2020. And I'm just going to leap in and show you, because I'm a bit worried that my camera is going to go funny in a minute. Is actually crochet.
Wow.
I know. So this is from On the Hook by Verity Castledine, who you may know as Truly Hooked. She is our kind of main indie dyer that we have at the shop. We don't have her yarns at the moment because we are online, and she's obviously online, and she's not doing any shows, and we aren't open. It just didn't seem right. So we're going to have her yarns again in the autumn when we open up again properly. We're hoping to be open before the autumn, but you know what I mean. But we have her books. And On the Hook is her crochet book. I think it was award nominated. I can't remember if it was award winning. And I'm doing the Eliza tea. Now, we are all completely led down the garden path by each other, aren't we? So Linda did this in this yarn that I'm doing it in. So that's it. That's the Eliza tea.
Oh, nice.
And Linda did it in the yarn I'm doing it in. And my friend Helen came into the shop and went, "Oh, I love it. Can I buy it?" And I didn't sell it to her because it's Linda's and I'm nice. I've tried selling something else of Linda's since, but you know. And so she wanted it exactly the same in exactly the same yarn. And look,
brilliant.
It's happening.
Would you like me to get the completed one? I've got it. If you like, I know.
Yeah,
I can lay my hands on it. Go grab it.
Go find it while I'm having a chat. So this is in Truly Hooked standard sock in the colourway Riverbed. 75% nylon. No, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's a hand-dyed yarn. It's fingering weight or 4-ply. And it is technically machine washable, but I'm going to hand wash this. So I am typically a really loose hooker, crocheter, and I always go down half a hook size on a pattern, just as standard. So I did this. Turns out Verity's quite loose as well. Our gauge is actually really similar. So I hooked on this thing, and then my friend couldn't actually get it on because it come up so small. So I had to fudge the pattern a little bit. And all I did was I put in an extra 3 repeats of this lace around the top, this open work. and that has spread it out nicely. I'm slightly worried I'm going to be playing yarn chicken, because this on me, when it's on, just about comes below the bust line. So I've got quite a way to go, but I've only got that much left of the first ball. So I'm slightly worried. Now this is only the second, I can get more if need be. I've got a second ball. This is only the second crochet garment I've ever done. And if you haven't tried crocheting a garment, I highly, highly recommend it, because it's magic. Like, it's all done in one. And look, like, you've created the armholes. There's no sewing up going on here. It's just done by chains and skipping, and it's just incredible. I really, really want to do more crochet. Linda is obviously very much the crochet lady. We can all crochet. Vic crochets quite a lot. Have you crocheted any garments, Vic?
Sorry?
Have you crocheted any garments, Vic?
Not as of yet, but I have plans.
You have plans. Yeah,
I
I'm totally a convert to crocheting garments, and I'm really excited, and I've got to have this done within the next couple of weeks, because Helen has been waiting for it for over a year.
And it's lovely to wear. I wear it with a little, obviously, because it's quite holey and I'm not 18 anymore. I wear it with a little white cami underneath it, and it works really well. It's lovely to wear. It looks great with a pair of jeans in the spring.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have that for Helen soon. And the final note, actually, before we move on and find out what other works in progress and talk about our make along, is to say that on World Book Day, which is the 4th of March, I used to be an English teacher, so World Book Day is a big thing for me. So to celebrate World Book Day, we are offering 25% off all the books in our shop for one day only. So 4th of March, get yourself on the website, no code needed, it will automatically discount. So for the 4th of March, all books are 25% off. And in the meantime, there's a great offer going on with Search Press, which you can find on our website as well. So has anyone got anything else on the needles or the hooks they want to talk about, or do we talk about the make-alongs? Oh, right, Vic, are you holding up?
It's the jumper that I ripped back no fewer than 15 times.
Ah!
Yeah.
Have you cracked it?
Is this your Finch?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's called the Finch. It was written for the Titus, but I'm doing it in the Pip colourwork, which is also a very well-behaved yarn. 10 out of 10 for the yarn. The pattern's great as well. It's me. I'm the problem. In this Venn diagram, I'm the problem. It's not a difficult repeat either. I don't know what it is, this one particular row, 15 times. Well, technically 13 because I ripped it back twice before. But anyway, it's really pretty. It's just not going forwards as much as it's going backwards. I can't actually get it. Is that visible?
Yeah.
It's your lovely fair isle. It is, isn't it?
It is beautiful.
So beautiful. You'll send me a picture anyway, won't you?
Yeah.
And I can flash it up in case it's not clear.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
There's one row, and I think it's you do 3 of one colour, 2 of another, 3 of another, then 1, and I can't get it right. I always end up 1 stitch out or 2 stitches out or 5, but we're not going to talk about that. But it's going to go forward by hook or by crook. I'm going to get it done this year. Again, it's the bloody mindedness. It's just that you have to sit down and do it, but it's taking a lot of time.
So this is making a lot of sense now, because when you're looking at this as your other project, you can understand why a black cabled sweater in the depth of winter is preferable.
Oh, Vic.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's going to go forward.
It's going to
so
go forward.
frustrating.
So what you need to do is you need to put a progress keeper in when we finished recording this, and then next month when we record, we can see your progress.
Yeah.
There we go. Vic's going to go forward. Lots of well wishes.
Absolutely, you'll be fine.
You will. You'll get there.
It'll be grand.
What have you got then, Ros?
Oh, I was just going to say, having finished, well, not quite finished my temperature blanket, it's a project I started when I looked up Tunisian crochet. You know, when we all like to learn new processes, and I'm not much of a crocheter. I do know how to do the stitches, but never really followed a pattern. But I was curious about this Tunisian crochet business where you keep all the stitches on the hook, the extended hook, and then take them all off again. It kind of seems, it makes a very interesting fabric. And this lovely lady in Columbus, Ohio, I think she's called TL Yarncraft.
Yeah.
She does some lovely videos to explain how to do the Tunisian crochet, which Tunisian crochet looks like that. Can you see the sort of grid sort of thing?
It's like
and then, yes, it is sort of waffly. It's like, and this is cotton, so it looks quite a nice. So on her website, she then started talking about a temperature blanket. And from all the conversations on her website, it's obviously a known thing, but it was new to me. And it would be a very good way of using a stash bust. But of course, I bought new yarn. What you do is you have a grid of your calendar, which is in here somewhere. Mine is looking a little scruffy now, but this is the whole year. And according to a weather website, you can get the average temperature for each day, and you mark that down. And then according to the temperatures, I chose, actually at random from my pack of 20 colours, a colour for each 2 degree
bracket
gap of, so
block,
each temperature bracket, yes, tells you on which day to do which colour. And this sort of thing could be for knitting, it could be for anything, but it's just to randomize colour scheme. So I did this. So can you see? It's quite big.
Yeah.
And you do it in panels so that you're not doing one huge long row per day. Where did I start? Not quite sure. Yeah, so you started at the bottom of one of these panels with a chain, and then you do the Tunisian crochet. 2 rows makes 1 day. So that's what this sort of thing is. And then you get periods where the temperature doesn't vary much or it changes a lot. But I did miscalculate at one point. So now that I got to about the 20th of December, I'm going the edge with just the last few colours instead of starting a new panel. And there we are. It's cotton, it's heavy, and it feels like rather like one of those nice towel type things. And I thought it would be nice in my I've got a VW camper, which is this colour. Actually, it's probably exactly one of these colours, and I thought it would look nice in there because it's
so
a bit
cool.
weird.
Yeah,
So
I'm doing one as well, but mine's in
fun.
slightly different colour palette, and I'm behind at the moment. I got to November, and because of Sam's jumper and other things, it got left. So I've got a bit of catching up to do on mine. So
they're quite fun, aren't they? Because there's lots of different ways you can do them. You can do them as like mitered squares. You could do them as stripes. You could do crochet. You could do knit. But it's nice when you do the stash bust, or some people actually build up gradients based on the temperatures. There was one that I saw that was really good, and I'll try and find it online and put a picture of it here. But there was someone who was commuting from, I don't know where, but to London every day, and wrote down the delay times and did a temperature blanket for the train delays.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Half an hour, it was red.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of red on this blanket. And it was really interesting. So you can use blankets like this to tell all sorts of stories. And it's a nice way as well, if you're doing something a day or per week or whatever, to kind of guarantee you're going to get a blanket by the end of the year, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
I did it as a year of my life. So I started it on my birthday last year, and then I thought I'd embroider the year on it when it's done. So I did it as my sort of a year of me rather than January to December. So that was just got to make it a bit interesting.
And talking about a year of, I was going to say, talking about a year of you, someone's got a birthday coming up this weekend, haven't they?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Rose!
Happy birthday, Rose!
Thank you.
I hope it's filled with all the squish.
Who knows? but yes, no partying sadly, but
Oh. Well, we'll have a celebration for you and Marilyn in Knit and Stitch Night tonight. We'll raise a glass to you.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. Oh, that's a good excuse to have a glass, having done dry January, beginning to end.
Well done.
And have since then only had one gin and tonic. I think that's a really good excuse to raise a glass this evening.
It's a jolly good excuse. Now I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw Vic pull something down from bed upstairs. So let's just have a look at this.
I did.
Oh, let's see.
This is a blanket that I made in the style of a temperature blanket, except it wasn't, because it was just whatever colour I wanted to use, and I did 20 squares with 15 rows, and then got bored and then did different ones. So I got January, February, and then halfway through March and gave up and made it into a blanket. So
oh, nice. Yeah.
the March one's quite nice actually. Sort of oranges and red and greens and
nice. Yeah,
I like the way you've done that.
Blanket.
It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
It's quite fun. It was, I think, one of my first actual crochet projects. So
it's good. It's good.
nice and
I
squishy.
said the TL Yarn Crafts lady, I can't remember what her name is, but she's really positive, and she said, don't beat yourself up if you get behind, because you can, and actually certainly on the website I used, you can go back and find the temperature averages, fill them in, and then do it when you're ready. And I think she said she got into a routine of doing the whole week every Sunday. At one point I got 3 months behind, but she's so sort of upbeat about it. Says, look, this is meant to be fun, like any of our projects. Don't worry about that. You've got the criteria there. And actually, I think next time if I did it, I might not have done quite so many, but I had a pack of 20 colours. She just did hers with 9, I think. So it's very flexible.
I can see a blanket.
Sorry,
show us.
Covering a puppy
Show me.
who's just decided to lick his nethers.
Honestly, smells.
Yeah. This blanket was knit for me by my mum and using all sorts of different cables, and I love it. But at the moment, it's being a modesty blanket.
So just like this.
You finished? It's still going. Let's just cover him up. They're talking about fun and getting behind and joining in and doing things together. There we go. Why don't we talk about our make along quickly, and then we should really wrap this up because we talk the hind legs off donkeys, don't we?
We do.
So if you watched last time, we are running our very first make along, which is called the Not a Mystery Along. It's in response to the fact that a lot of us took part in a mystery make along by Stephen West before Christmas, and a make along, much like with Vic and Linda's socks, a mystery one, it's released in clues, so you don't actually know what the finished piece is going to look like until you've done it, basically. Are you quite finished?
Okay, don't worry.
But that can be a bit daunting with choosing colours and things. So we've thought, well, why don't we do a make along that is based on Stephen West and also one of our favourite crochet designers, Anna Nikiforovich, and have a Not a Mystery Along. And how it works is on the website. I've got a category on the website, make along patterns. You choose your pattern, purchase your pattern. That gets you an entry. Your order number automatically enters you into winning a prize. You get yourself on our Facebook group, Friends of the Yarn Dispensary, and join in and chat with everyone there. Just be social and talk about what you're making, because we're really nosy and we like to know all the things. And if you finish your project, which is finishing, I think we said we're doing it for February and March, aren't we? So April time it's finishing, when I remember basically that it needs to finish. You get prize entered for a prize then as well. So we'll have all sorts of lovely yarny goodies. Full disclosure, it's the 3rd of February. I haven't started mine yet. I haven't even picked my pattern yet. Roz, I think though, is steaming along with the Stephen West, aren't you?
I sent you the photos.
You did. They're gorgeous. I'm going to put them up, but we'd love to hear about it.
The pattern is actually I think it's quite an old one of Stephen West's, and it's actually only 2 colours. You could, of course, add more if you want to, and it's fairly narrow. It works out about this wide, but it's done in short rows, so it has a curvature to it, which means that as it will end up round your neck, it will twist round, which is why I took pictures of it on the beach. Not that we have much choice at the moment, Linda, do we, with the photography? But we took pictures of it on the beach because we thought it looked a little bit like seaweed, the way it curls. And actually, I think might be quite a good way of somebody who might be a little scared of short row shaping for a garment to actually have a go at doing short rows on a small, well, it can be as long as you want it to be, but actually it's quite small as a shawl.
So short rows are based on the fact you have your whole row of knitting, and normally you'd knit back and forth along the length of the row. Chip in if I'm explaining this badly, Ross, because I'm quite new to it as well. And then instead of knitting the whole way along the row, you knit so far along the row and then knit back. And then what that does is it creates a curve.
Yeah, pulls it round.
You
start
instead of knitting straight, you're putting a wedge of knitting in.
Yeah.
From the base, you're coming up at an angle. So you've still got the same number of stitches, but you're not always knitting them. So at one edge, you're not knitting those stitches very often.
Yeah, so you do eventually take up all the stitches again and move the whole knitting along, but you're left with, so I think there was short row shaping. I mean, the heel of a sock is short row shaping, isn't it? And it creates the...
Exactly. You're not losing stitches at all, but you're just holding some at one side and not knitting them so that the angle of your progress is going up. Does that make sense?
It does. Vic, are you going to join in with this?
So
I might do. I haven't looked at patterns yet. I have a lot of yarn that could be used for something Stephen West flavoured, and it probably will end up being a Stephen West because I haven't done one yet. I know it's sacrilegious, but it looks like fun, so I might have to join in.
Yeah, you say it's sacrilegious, but Ros has only just recently started doing Stephen West last year or so. My what's the one?
Extravaganza.
Strip extravaganza.
I can't.
The naughty one. Oh, I think again. My slip extravaganza.
That's the one.
Slip extravaganza.
That's the one.
Extravaganza.
Not strip.
Yeah. Linda, have you picked something to do? Are you doing knitting or crochet?
I haven't. I probably will crochet one of Anna's patterns. I've got one here actually as well that I bought from the Yarn Dispensary a while back and haven't done it. And I was thinking of getting some wild wool, so I may bring it into the shop with me when I next go to do an internet posting day. And have a look and see what I think about doing it in some wild wool, because it's a slightly thicker yarn. It's not, it's not one of my 4-ply shawls that I normally do. So I think I might do that one, because I know that I can probably do that in a couple of months and not be sort of hanging on with it afterwards. So I'll give it a go. I'll have a think. I was going to do a knitted shawl because I haven't done a Stephen West because I'm not really a huge knitter. So, but I think I might do the Anna crochet one this time. I'll have a think of it. So by next time I'll have either got something and started it, or I will have got something and started it.
I mean, we join in just for kicks, don't we? Because obviously, because it's our make along, we can't win prizes. So we just join into it with you guys and have a chat and whatnot. I mean, the chances of me actually finishing it are 0 to none. But I points for trying all the time.
Yeah,
trying.
She'll enjoy that.
Oh, Linda.
Yes.
I've got something to show you. It might be a disaster, it might not. I'll just get it.
Might be a disaster.
I thought it was good.
Oh, where's she gone and what's she gone to get? It's brilliant.
I haven't been drinking.
You sure?
Well, I've got my end credits sorted with my blooper reel, haven't I?
Okay, so we're going to wind up now, and it's been really lovely being here talking to you all. I love it. So great, and bye from me.
Bye from me.
And bye from me.
See you all soon.
Bye.